And somehow you've returned again to my breast to hear more witterings about genitals and old games from the 80s and 90s. And today we're playing Pac-Mania. Yes, Pac-Mania in the Retrotech 120p challenge, where you get as many practice runs as you want, and then you just whack in your imaginary 20p and see how far you get with your recorded run. I've decided to practice about 10 minutes again because I've got stuff to do this week. I've got to do a video on Batman. So yes, there's this. It's Pac-Mania. What is Pac-Mania? Well, Pac-Mania, yes, that's where I come from. Pac-Mania, like Romania. So it comes from Namco. It was in 1987 that they produced that from their gaming womb, and they bequeathed this, which is obviously a sequel to Pac-Man, as you can see, but in 3D and with Lego in it for some reason. So yeah, there's that. It's obviously isometric, as you can see, hence all the squarey bits and the slightly diagonal viewpoint. It came out on loads of stuff. This came out on the Acorn 32, the Amiga, the ST, the Amstrad, the Commodore 64, the Mega Drive, the MSX, the NES, the Master System, the Sharp X68000, and the ZX Spectrum. Crikey. It's probably come out on more stuff as well, like in these compilations and what have you as well, but there we go. What's different about it, apart from the fact that you didn't like this sort of 3D isometric perspective, is the fact you can jump. You might have seen me jump in that bit there. What else is there to say about it? It's bloody good. That's what there is to say about it. It's not as good as Pac-Man, perhaps. There's been better Pac-Man games since. Things like Pac-Man 256 and the DX game, if you ever played that. And I don't mean DS game, I mean DX. And the tournament game and what have you, they're all good. This is still quite good. I'd say it's not up there with Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, or some of the later ones, but it's still blummin' good indeed. And you'll certainly enjoy it if you play it, as did in Amiga Power when they released that the version of that on there, which was Arcade Perfect. It ended up getting the 67th position in Amiga Power's all-time top 100 games. It was so beloved. So yeah, pretty good game. Now on to the genitals. And what can we do? Well, I could make could do something crude about swallowing, because of Pac-Man going around eating stuff. But no, I'm going to use ghosts early, even though we're some way away from Halloween, and I could have saved it from there, even. But no, I'm not going to. I'm going to go straight in with my penis wet in ectoplasm and waggle it around left and right until I'm spent. So what is ghost sex? Well, it is known as spectrophilia. Obviously, because of spectro being spectre and philia meaning shags things. And you might sort of remember it from things like Demi Moore and I was going to say Patrick Moore. Demi Moore, yes, that would make Ghost a quite interesting film. Patrick Moore and Demi Moore. No, Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore getting on in Ghosts. Dan Aykroyd, of course, in Ghostbusters, in that famous scene where he gets a blowy. And I don't know, I guess there's the bit with Casper and Christina Ricci in Casper, but they're like 8 or something. And Casper's like 100. That's pretty Jimmy Savile. Anyway, but they're not the only ones. There's celebrities who claim that they've had intercourse with ghosts. There's Kesha, who in an interview with Ryan Seacrest claimed that her 2012 song Supernatural was about her shagging a ghost. She was the one that obviously went to toilet in sinks and things like that, and actually, she's got a bit of a tragic tale now, Kesha. She basically, there's someone who sexually abused her who gets all the money from anything she creates, so she's decided never to release music or write songs again. And she was quite a talented pop performer, so, life is awful, and people are awful. And perhaps we're best off sleeping with ghosts. Much like Lucy Liu, who said in 1999 that she woke up to find that she was climaxing from a ghost, which doesn't sound very consensual, Lucy. You know, it's not something to boast about. Then there's sort of non-celebrities who perhaps like a bit of attention, shall we say. There's a lady called Amethyst Realm who claims to have had sex with 20 different ghosts. Insert your own ectoplasm joke there, like I did earlier. So yes, I mean, it begs some questions there. I mean, how do you meet ghosts? Have you ever met a ghost? And if you have you ever felt amorous towards it? Let alone 20. Is there an app for this? Is there like a Tinder for ghosts where you can meet ghosts to have sex with? How did this girl, Amethyst, she's got one of those names that suggests, that might not be her real name and is a bit, spooky ghost, first credit down. But I don't know, or did she just sort of walk around the most haunted village in the country, which I think is Pluckley in Kent, with a flange hanging out? Who knows? But it doesn't seem that this is a very likely tale. But she is not the only person. In fact, she, much like this other person, is planning to marry someone. She's planning to marry a poltergeist. Whereas there's another lady who, actually this is a recent story, is a lady called Brocard, who is a singer-songwriter, who, I don't know, she makes that very clear during the article that she's a singer-songwriter because, you know what, if you're not very good at music, you can always pretend that you're having sex with ghosts. Or maybe she is, I don't know. But she is claiming that a church won't let her marry her Victorian soldier betrothed called, what was his name? Eduardo. He's even got one of those names. He sounds like he's already having sex with other people, perhaps supernatural, or maybe of a attention-seeking songwriter persuasion. I don't know. He seems to have a type, is all I'm saying. So Eduardo. And that's the end of my game. As you can see, the second go was awful. There will be people who do better at this, and you shall watch their goes, because they're going to be much better. But where else would you get people talking about ghost sex other than here? Nowhere. And until next time, Kay, thanks and bye.